Yo, what up guys? So today I wanted to do something a little bit different. So as some of you might not know, I am a writer. I've been professionally writing for about 3 years now, and I've been writing maybe for about 10 years, like in the grand scheme of all. I do a lot of like freelance work. I do have like my personal blog sites and stuff, but ever since I started getting into this YouTube game, like things have changed. I've kind of strayed away from writing in the meantime, but I'm starting to get back into the routine again and just working that muscle, you know, just getting to the habit of writing every single day again, you know. And since I'm getting back into the routine of writing, I wanted to share 7 things that I hate about writing. So writing to me has always been something very personal. It's just a different way for me to express myself and just fully convey those ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, whatever you want to call it, and get those out, you know, because a lot of the times, me personally, I bottle a lot of things up, and so it's just another way for me to stay sane. I guess you would say it's another form of therapy, right? All right, for me, I don't have any specific preference of where I like to write. I like to do it, man. I have journals filled with words. It doesn't matter. I also like to use this app called Evernote, and it's a perfect way just to gather my thoughts. I do use notes like the iPhone notes every now and then, but Evernote is cool because I'm able to sync it to my computer and just reach it from wherever I need it. So like I said, writing has always been something very personal to me, something that I truly enjoy doing, but even though I enjoy doing it, there's still some things that I hate about it. So let me go ahead and get into the list. All right, so first things first, what I really hate about writing is how vulnerable it makes you. It makes you dig into those dark places that maybe you don't want to go into, and forces you to fully express them. I know I have a lot of trouble with that. It's always good to dig into those places though, because it allows you to fully express your emotions and get that pressure off your chest, you know? I see it as a form of therapy, and it really helps me out, but it's always very difficult for me. Another thing I really hate about writing is not being able to turn those ideas and thoughts into actual words. I know for me it can be a little bit challenging sometimes, and if I don't find a solution or I don't find the exact words I want to express, I can sometimes just put it aside, and I kind of give up on it, even though I shouldn't be doing that, because it's always more difficult to come back into a certain feeling or emotion and just feed off of what you've already experienced. So it's always very challenging. So my biggest advice would be, if you get stuck somewhere in a certain thought or idea, just write out everything that you can so that you can come back and understand that certain mind space that you're in at the moment, and just work off of that. Another thing I really hate about writing is, when I was first starting off, I know I dealt with this a lot, is just comparing yourself to other writers. Sometimes I feel like I'm the worst writer ever, and I don't even have the privilege to call myself a writer. But you have to understand that everyone has a different voice, everyone has a different style, and you can't just compare your unique words to somebody else's, because it'll mess with you. So try not to compare yourself to others. Another thing that I found really challenging, and that I ended up coming to hate, is finding a space to write. So meaning finding a specific website that'll give you a chance to fully express your ideas. It's always very difficult when you start off, just because you don't have the experience. But once you start getting some experience and exposure, people really start messing with you. And I guess the biggest thing to take from that is just do what you gotta do. Write for you, don't write for anybody else. Start a blog, you know, be consistent with your writing, and eventually the cards will fall in your favor. It's just, you gotta understand that nothing happens overnight, and you gotta have patience. Simple as that. Another thing that I hated too when I first started off was the idea of actually sitting down with a pen and paper and writing. It's so time consuming. That's what you don't understand. But once you start getting in the groove of things, it starts getting a little bit easier, and then you get into the habit of actually knowing how to fully express the idea that's in your mind, and it becomes easier. And then next thing you know, you start enjoying it like I do, and then next thing you know, you'll be writing books like your boy. Another thing too, when I first started off as a freelance writer, I hated with every ounce of my soul writing about things that I had no interest in. So as a freelancer, sometimes you'll get hired by certain companies that'll give you a list of pitches, ideas to write about, and 90% of the time, it'll be about topics you have no particular interest in, but when the necessity is high, you're willing to do whatever it takes to get a check. You know, I remember one time I had to write about how to get a lawyer in Philadelphia. Mind you, I live in Houston. I have no clue whatsoever, but hey, whatever it takes, right? But even though I was writing about topics I had no particular interest in, it gave me a lot of experience to just be able to have the versatility to write about different topics, and mainly how to do research. So don't be scared to write about things that you don't like, because at the end of the day, you'll gain experience, and that's all that really matters. Now, this last thing is something that I never really had trouble with, but I know certain writers who put themselves in a box and only label themselves as a writer. And as a creative, that's the most devastating thing you could possibly do to your career. It's just labeling yourself as one thing. Creativity has no boundaries, so just because you're a writer doesn't mean that you can't dabble with other forms of creativity. Like, get yourself out there, and I promise you it'll help you out whenever you do come back to write, because it forces you to fully express yourself in a very unconventional way that maybe you weren't accustomed to while you were just writing. And so whenever you do go out and venture off into something different, you can always come back stronger with the ability to put together ideas. So don't ever just label yourself as a writer. You know, go out and experience different creative realms, because I promise you at the end of the day, it'll help you with whatever it is that you're working on. Now, to be honest, there isn't just one way on how to write. Everyone has their own unique certain style of writing, and it's always important to just go out and find out what your style is. Don't be afraid to fully express your ideas, thoughts, or emotions, because how therapeutic it is. But yeah, those are the 7 things that I hate about writing. I know this video was a little bit different. It was just me trying to give you guys a little more perspective of what it is that I do. I know I share a lot about my life in general and stuff, but you don't really know exactly what it is that I do. So this is me just kind of sharing what it is that I do. You know, I have a lot of things planned in the works, and I'm pretty excited to be able to share those things with you all. So I just wanted to give you insight of what it is that I do. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys truly enjoyed that, and remember, it doesn't take much to be a writer. All you have to do is just be consistent, man. Be consistent with your writing and just fully express your thoughts, man. That's it. So if you guys have anything that you hate about writing, be sure to leave them down in the comments and let me know what's up. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on Wednesday. Yeah.